Welcome to the latest video. We're now in March. It's starting to get a little bit warmer. It's 12 degrees up in the loft, which is quite comfortable for me to work. Now what I've been up to is, obviously we've set this module here, and originally I was only going to control one turnout with it, but I've now decided to add another two turnouts to it. So the two turnouts here into the dock section are now being controlled by this one Arduino Nano. Now I'm trying to also incorporate spot detection, but the moment we're dealing with a start a day issue which affects JMRI only. The next thing I plan to do is install another module which will go approximately here, and this will also control three turnouts. One here and two under this section. So that will use the same sketch as this one, and that will go in the next day or two. LCC is very powerful. Now once you've used JMRI to configure the nodes, the theory is you do not then need a computer to control your layout. You can do this from Mimic panels and other devices. However, in my case, I really want to use the power of JMRI to run the automation side of my layout. So this is why we're having to deal with some of the start of day issues, as certain things show up as unknown on startup. In a turnout, this is easily done or fixed using a script within JMRI, and I've done this in the past using, well, when I've been using CMRI for my nodes. The Arduino Nano and the MCP2515, which I'm showing here, is going to work for me because on my layout I know what I'm doing with it, and the limitations of the Nano's memory will work for me. Now one issue I know we will come across is each of the pins will only allow one event to be stored for it. Now this will work for me at the moment, but for more advanced stuff, this is why we are looking with the ESP32 and also the M5 stack. Now I'm also happy to drive 3 servos with this shield. This shield is capable of supplying about 1.5 amps, they reckon. I would say more 1 amp, but as none of the servos are ever going to be removed once, except maybe at startup, and then it will be slightly sequential, this will not cause a problem in my opinion, as each servo is attached when it's required to move and then detached. I've also, because I've got the springs involved, this should not be any big issue. If you want to drive more than 3 servos, I would really recommend that you use a PCA 9685 and supply it with a separate power supply, as this will be more beneficial to you. This then just needs us to supply 2 pins for the I2C, and this, in my opinion, is definitely a good way to go. David's library does have examples, and I will be showing one of these examples with the M5 stack in the next few weeks when I have more time. So one thing I never realised when I started building this layout was how much I was going to change my mind during the build. And this does add expense to when you're building a layout, and you know, if you don't plan it, then expect to spend more money and spend more time changing things. I feel the changes I'm making are worthwhile doing, in my opinion. It's just a case it's going to take me a little bit longer. Now, putting the 3 servos on this Nano, the longest cable is going to be 3 foot. Now I need to be careful here because the servo cables are going to be passing the DCC dropper cables. Now to avoid interference, they will be crossing at nearly 90 degrees. Now this should stop any interference getting into the servo data cable, causing twitches. So this is something you'd need to be aware of. Now again, the PCA 9685 could have possibly done a servo over here and here. I felt in this case, no, let's just show what we can do with the single nano. And having these three, and hopefully by next week I will be able to add the spot detectors to this module, which that will then feed in for the automation. The other thing I have been working on is this section here. I've now put a concrete base down, and that's still drying out. Obviously it takes a little while, but I'm very pleased with that. That's going to become part of a wagon works come distribution depot and different activities going on in this area. Now I've also put in this section of track running here. That is going to be my programming track, and for the layout working, in theory the trains come from this direction in, and they can be unloaded and maybe loaded onto this line. So you'll see that coming along in the future. I had realised I needed something to go here, so I've decided to take one of the Thingiverse trucks, modify it and put a Thingiverse crane that I've had on the layout in the dock area on the back of that wagon. I just need to put some stabilisers on it, so that could unload wagons from here onto this line, and that'll do for what I want. Another thing I've done, I was going to have another mimic panel here, but I've decided there's only ever going to be me running this layout due to the fact that it's in my loft and that the floors have not been done properly. So I've decided to do away with the mimic panel from here, and then I'm just putting some cabling on the outside to make it easier to work on. So that's that one. And again, there was going to be another mimic panel here, so I'll probably be changing this. This here is all 12 volt, 5 volt and 3.3 volt supplies. So this will come out and be dropped down into this position, and I think this is going to make it easier. Obviously under here the cabling is still a mess. This needs to be sorted out, so that's going to be in the summer of this year. I will get under there, sort all that out, run the CAN bus around, because the CAN bus at the moment only goes as far as here. Hopefully by the end of the day I will have it into this section here, which is going to have the next module. So hopefully that's shown you what I'm planning to do and work on, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and thank you again for watching, and thank you for all the people who have liked and subscribed to the channel since. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, and I appreciate everybody who has taken the time to join us in this journey.